Oh, I have a new guest, and this guest really wanted to be on the Strongest Podcast. A lot of people, you may have heard of him. He's very controversial, like myself, but he's a very nice guy once you get to know him. He is known as the man known as Snake. Snake, welcome to the Strongest Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
How are you, by the way?
I'm alright. You just pulled me off some MGO2R, but...
Oh yeah, don't tell anybody that. You know, I did kidnap you while you were playing MGO2I. All you heard on the door was thump, thump, thump. Who's that? Answer the door. Me! Next you know, grab you and everything. We're going to do this podcast. And I know you were kicking and screaming. You said, no, TSJ, I don't want to do this podcast. Leave me alone. But, no, you're in my domain now, so... But I'm only joking, people. I'm only joking to those who are listening. I haven't kidnapped Snake. Do not call the police on me. I haven't done anything. And he can back me up on that, whether he likes it or not. Anyway, Snake, let's get into business. I'm going to ask you some questions, and, you know, you'll answer. And please be very uncensored, controversial, or whatever. You know, honest opinions, nothing, you know, like holding back. Just, you know how it goes, don't you, Snake?
Yes, I do.
So, the first question I'm going to ask, what were your favourite MGO moments?
Probably my very first tournament win.
Really? Tell us more about that. How did it go?
I just had a random team, and I just randomly won. It was before I made the clan soda. It was just me, my friend Ops, some guy named Biggest Boss, which I heard turned into a guy named Jabberwocky. I'm sure people would know who that is. From NA anyways. But we just randomly won a tournament together, and it was I think it was MM Rescue. And I was drunk. The video is actually on YouTube, but it's really shitty quality. The video was taken from a BlackBerry from 2007 or 2008 or whatever. It was pretty brutal, and I was drunk. I was using AR3 Mono 3. I was being quite the noob, and everybody was dead. Killed all the last three people, and ended up winning the tournament. It was a pretty good memory.
Wow, I mean, that's a very good achievement that, you know, you managed to be drunk and actually win a tournament. Because most people, when they play, like, ESL tournaments or ESL or very competitive, they'll usually go, right, I have to be sober, I have to be really focused, or what have you. But you just basically said, well, you know what, I've got a tournament, I'm going to have a random team, I'm going to have a few beers, and let's see how this goes. And the fact that you've been honest and said that you were drunk and won a tournament, I mean, that takes an amazing skill. You know, the fact that you were drunk and actually won a tournament, and maybe possibly hold a BlackBerry at the same time with the controls, so, you know, multitasking. You know.
Well, it was my buddy who was holding the BlackBerry in the background.
But still, I mean, that doesn't knock your achievement of winning a tournament while you were drunk. Did you have any encounters with any particular hackers? Do you remember any names from MGO2 back in the day? I mean, I remembered one person called Enzo. I don't know if you've heard of him. Enzo or Ezio. This guy, he used to, like, hack MGO2 whenever we used to play with him. He used to make it so... you know that whole staple not connection bullshit where everyone is stoked but one person's not? And the Purest One told me about this. He said something like, oh, they get a list of your IP addresses, they somehow send like MAU to all these IP addresses except themselves, so that's why they could go around and kill them. And this guy called Enzo or Ezio, he used to do that all the time. But have you encountered any hackers that's like that? Have you actually killed any hackers that did that? You know, it's anything?
At the start, oh yeah. Well, when MaxSwag was really, really bad. Before I started using it myself, it was pretty bad. So, but Derek Venturi would be one of them. I guess people would know him as King Nat, King Blake, Hitokiri, Timer. Just tons of glitchers in the NA server. EU was pretty bad too. I know a couple of EU glitchers. It was bad. It was... Regardless of how fun the game was, it was still pretty bad of how many glitchers there was, because I could probably go on for days of how many glitchers there is. I'm sure other people could do the same.
Yeah, I mean, I remembered near the end of MGO2's like era, not MGO2R, but MGO2. I remember there used to be a shit ton of glitches, a shit ton of cheaters. I remember I used to say this at Purest One as well. You know, when you used to play like tournaments or survival, it wasn't really a competition of skill. It was a competition of who had the best homemade lag switch. That's all it was to it. And you know, just the fact that there was so many glitches and so many hackers, and they ruined arguably the greatest multiplayer game of all time. But
That's true.
yeah, but I am
Yep.
pleased that MGO2R is back. But I need to ask you a noob question because I haven't played MGO2R, but I really want to play MGO2R. Is there a lot of hackers and glitches on MGO2R?
No.
No,
There's
really?
none.
Wow.
There's people that cry that there's a glitcher, but personally, I haven't run into one in 2 years, because it's been back up for about 2 years. And some people did come back. What was the guy's name? He was called the Dark Knight. Murphy Boy. He's from EU. I'm sure you've heard of him.
I think I have
some
heard of
people
him,
have heard
yeah.
of him. He came back and was glitching and DDoSing people, and then they got rid of his account, and he hasn't been back since. He said he sold his console, but we all know he got banned. So, but that was it. Like, there was apparently there was a couple people that did come back just to glitch, but they got banned instantly because it's run by us now. It's run by the people, so we control what goes on.
So do you have like some kind of special report feature, like on a forum or something? If someone's like been hacking and glitching, do you send like a post to a forum with like video evidence, of course, saying, oh, this guy's been hacking or glitching or malware or whatever, and then whoever's in charge of like the admin work, he usually sorts it out?
Not really. It's more of you just talk to the big boy, Gigahertz. He's the only one you could seem to get a hold of, because what the fuck are you thinking? Droogie, Mr. Game, they don't even appear anymore. I haven't seen them in ages, probably in about a year and a half. JVR will stop in every once in a while, but generally you just have to report them to Gigahertz. Mind you, with video proof. If you just say this person is glitching, blah 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 blah, he's not going to do shit, because people on the MGO community in general is just a bunch of whiners. They'll cry lag even though it's their internet connection. It was actually happening earlier on my stream today. Buddy was telling me I was laggy. He was one bar, I was full ping. That doesn't make any sense.
So if just because G-Hertz is a like the only admin who's kind of does stuff, would you accept a request of being an admin yourself on MGO2R? You know, being able to ban people in case they've been cheating or hacking?
I don't think that's really necessary, just because he seems to get to it quick enough. So, like, the community is really, really small, so it's not like there's a lot of accounts to go through. So he's usually pretty good at taking care of it himself.
Right, so I mean that is good that MGO2R is doing well, you know, with the cheaters, even more so than Konami. I mean, you know, a fan-supported game now is doing better than Konami when it comes to reporting. I mean, MGO3, they've banned no hackers yet. You have had the S-Myogen's been going around for like nearly a year now, and still nothing has been done. And there's plenty of video evidence. I can guarantee you 50 videos of the S-Myogen's hacking and glitching, and still nothing done about it.
Yep, I know.
And Konami's got to really step up their game.
They're not going to, because we just found out where all their resources were going to recently.
I wonder
Metal
what
Gear Survive. That's where their resources were going to. It's a shame that game was never given the TLC that it deserves, but it's just the way it is.
Don't worry, we'll be on to that later on in this podcast. We'll talk really deep into the Metal Gear Survive, and we'll shit talk it basically if you want. Now, I'm going to go into the next subject, and knowing you, because you've listened to the previous podcast, you know where this is going to go, and this is when you're going to air out all controversial opinions of yourself. So, what is your opinion on other YouTubers? So when I say a name of MGO, so like a player, or an ESL player, or a MGO YouTuber, you tell me what's your honest opinion about them. And of course, if everyone has been listening to my other podcasts, they know where this is going in particular with this first person. What is your opinion on Perfect Stealth?
Perfect Stealth, he's a hypocrite, first of all. A huge hypocrite. And he's a backstabber. He talks so much shit behind other people's backs, and he uses Twitter to do it. He'll not, when he's streaming or on his YouTube, he's all humble and everything, but when you get on Twitter with this guy, he just gets all nasty to certain people. And I've been a part of it too when we first started on ESL. There was a lot of controversy of people trying to ban us. I was on the Purest One's team, so I'm sure you've heard the story and the videos and the community trying very, very hard to ban our team. But, yeah.
I've heard that from Purest One. He told me the same story. He said, you know, when we were playing on a map or something, and Perfect Selfie's going, hey, these guys are like lag switching or something, and Purest One was like, what the hell are you on about? He had like video evidence of him like, you know, playing, and there was no lagging what's going on. And I remember the Purest One made a like hilarious but good video saying, apparently this is lag switching or something. That's what it's called. Apparently this is lag switching at Perfect Stealth. And it was just basically, you know, showing that he doesn't know what a clue he's talking about. And I agree with you on Perfect Stealth. I just don't know why. People, if you're listening in, why do you fanboy a guy who's a well-known backstabber in the community? Yes, he may look good on YouTube. Yes, he may look good on Twitch streamer, but you've seen his videos recently. You've seen the videos of him going, the MGO community is dead, the MGO community are full of arseholes, you know, they killed this game, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about and everything. But the guy is just, why do you stick up for a guy who badmouths you? You know, everyone, he really bites the hand that feeds you all. It's like, you know, you're all giving him attention, but when he dishes out something, you're all going, oh, well, yeah, but he's our Lord and Saviour, Perfect Stealth. And, yeah, like even you said, Gen Snake, he goes on Twitter a lot and he'll badmouth anybody. He won't say it on a stream, he won't say it on a YouTube video, but he'll say something like, oh, but that TSG, he's too toxic, and which he has said in the past. He has said stuff about me. He has said, like, that TSG guy, he's too toxic, you know. I don't like him. I don't like his mentor, Sentinel, because Sentinel's brainwashed the community. Yes, he claimed my mentor, Sentinel, brainwashed the MGO community into a playstyle, which is a lot of shit in my opinion. Yeah, he did. He said, right, Sentinel likes to play Infiltrator class, you know, Woo Pistol, maybe Stealth Camo, and he said that the community has listened to him and now playing like him, which is a load of shit, because if you play on MGO3, you see a lot of people playing with machine guns, with underbarrel grenade launcher, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's getting his information from, and he still, and he just badmouths people, and people take it as gospel, and I'm seriously, I just want to ask this question. People, feel free to write in the comment section, why do you follow Perfect Stealth? Do you think he's right? Do you think he's wrong? Do you like him? Do you hate him? Do you like him just to hate him, or do you hate him just to like him, or whatever? I don't know, but just, people, please, it's really bugging me, and I really hate the guy. And seriously, Perfect Stealth, if you're listening to this, accept my 1v1. I offered you a 1v1 months ago, and you still have not said anything. Fuck's sake.
I think he's moved on to Overwatch.
I know, but it seems like he's trying to duck me in the way. He won't answer anything. I offered him to go on this podcast. I said, Perfect Stealth, if you want, we'll go on this podcast, we'll talk it out like men. I'll admit my stuff in the wrong because I'm no saint. Anyone that knows me knows I'm no saint, but at least I open up to what I did. Apparently cyberbullying. And, you know, we just talk it out, you know, you did what you did wrong, I did what I did wrong, let's make up, let's kiss and make up and say, right, we're going to be friends and have tea parties and scones and talk about the young people saying the youth of today are so bad and everything. But no, you won't come on this podcast, you'll never will. The offer's still there, but you'll never will. Right, I'm going to ask you another person, another YouTuber. Do you know Sentinel?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy his videos. Well, I should say, I used to. He stopped making MGO videos, so now, personally, I am subscribed to the guy, because I don't give a shit about the other games that he does. That's just being honest. But before then, he used to make how-to videos and all that stuff. When Gigahertz was trying to get up MGO.io up and running, I got a hold of Sentinel and I said, why don't you put your how-to videos on this website, because I actually really enjoyed them, so, you know, just put them on this website. And he seems like he's a pretty good guy, and I enjoyed his MGO content, but I didn't really care about any of the other games he was playing.
Fair enough, you know, because you do like the MGO stuff, you don't like randomly watching, I don't know, Final Fantasy 8 Triple Triad videos out of nowhere, you know, you subscribe to a person that you expect like MGO videos, and it's nice of you to say, well, I think Sentinel is a nice guy, I wish he did MGO videos, I wish he didn't quit, but at the end of the day, I think he's a nice guy. The thing is with Sentinel, because I am good friends with him, very good friends with him, he's very straightforward, he tells his mind, he's no bullshit, and that's what I like about him. And you know, the fact that you like him as well, I mean, that already means we're good friends already.
I don't blame him for stop playing MGO, just to put that out there. I don't blame him because the game's ass.
Yeah,
that way.
he never said it was the community, like Perfect Self would say. He never said it was the community. It was just the game itself and the lack of attention by Konami.
Yeah, it was Konami's fault. The community was cancer. But at the same time, it was cancer in MGO2, and we still put up with it and enjoyed that game for 4 years. So, it had nothing, I don't think it had anything to do with the community. The community's always been cancer.
Exactly. I mean, the community's always been like, I don't know, that girlfriend that you have that treats you like shit, but you always keep going back to her, but she treats you like normal, like, most of the time, but at times treats you like shit. But it's not like cancer, like 100% cancer, but, I mean, it's like, you know, you got to take the good with the bad. You got to take a game that's like MGO2 that's really good, but you got to take a community with it. But not everyone in the community is bad, but not everyone in the community is good. I mean, you've got to give and take. You know, you got to take some, but you give some. You know what I mean, basically.
Yep.
Right. I know you talked about it before, and obviously in a good way. But what is your opinion on the Purest One?
Purest One, he's a good guy. Loyalty. I see him as loyalty. Like, he's the only one that gave me my chance afterwards, after I started glitching. I'm sure there's a certain amount of people that know that. He came back to MGO2R, and then I started talking to him again, and then he just let me play with him, and actually had my back when a couple of people on the team didn't want me on the team for ESL. So.
Right.
He's a good guy, that guy.
I like him too. I like the fact that I sent him a message on Twitter. I said, Purest One, you may not know me, but I know you. Would you like to be on the Strongest Podcast? And fair play to the guy. You know, he's got like 1,500 subscribers or something. He's quite
something like that, yeah.
Popular on MGO3, and he could have just said, you know, there and then he could have said, well, I don't know who this guy is. Why should I go to his podcast? But fair play to the guy. You know, he said, right, well, I'll be on the podcast. He knew there was going to be controversial questions. He knew there was going to be, you know, controversial things happening, but I just like how the guy just actually went in and he aired about everything, and I think he's a really loyal guy. He's a pretty good guy. I like him. You know, he's a good friend.
He's pretty humble, but just don't get on his bad side, because he can be one of the most irritating people you've possibly ever met.
But
he's a troll. One of the biggest trolls you'll ever know.
I have seen these videos. I have seen those videos. I've seen those videos where somebody gave him a hate mail or something saying, hey, Purest One, why were you teabagging me for? And he made some video, it was hilarious. It was a guy pretending to read his phone and go, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? And he's like, he edited the screenshot of that message onto the phone, so it looked like the guy was getting angry over what this person sent, and mate, I was laughing my ass off. So, Purest One, if you're listening to this, that was hilarious as fuck. I loved it. I loved it. Please make more videos like that. I'm going to ask more people before I move on. What is your opinion? I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's on Team Revolution, and I think he's the leader of Team Revolution, but I'm not too sure. What's your opinion on Nishi? He's not, known as ex-Nishi, but you know.
Oh, I know who he is. He's a fucking asshole.
Really? No,
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
He's a pretty good guy. You can't really trust him too much. Story time. Me and Saku, another player that the community should know. Just to backtrack, there's a guy named Seppuku, or everybody knows him as Legendary Boy from MGO2. He was being a huge fucking dickhead and just like trying to ban everybody from ESL, just doing the scrubbiest things. Was too afraid to play against people, would just try to snake a free win. Was just doing shitty stuff like that. So what we did, what I did with Nishi and Saku was with me, is that they were playing in the LA server and the NA server at the same time. But you can't do that according to the rules. So we decided to report them and prove that we were ready. So Nishi put me and Saku on the team to play for them and whatnot in the NA server. So we were ready to go, proving that we were ready to go. And then Nishi played against them in the LA server. They ended up losing the NA server or the LA server really, really fast. And instead of letting us play, me and Saku play, and the team that I gathered on Revolution, he just snaked us and just got rid of us and just said, nope, we don't need you. And completely ignored Gen Snake and just, here, we're going to play our game without you guys. So he completely cut me and Saku out, and I'm still a little salty about that one. I'll be a little honest. So, but
I mean,
other than that,
at least you're honest about it, you know. And Nishi, if you're listening to this, don't worry, it's all in good faith. I have talked to Nishi in the past before. I even offered him. I said, "Do you want to be on this podcast?" He said, "Yeah, but I'll have to charge you for it." And I don't know if it was a joke or not. But then I said, "Well, fair enough. If you want to charge for it, fair enough. But I can also ask your friend Yad Baba." And he was just. Yeah, and then he was just like, Nishi, I'm only joking, but you could tell Nishi was like going, "Oh, fuck you, TSG," and all that. But no, from what I've messaged though, he is a nice guy. I have had an ESL match with him once. This was on MGO3 on the MGO.io. Team Revolution versus my team, and my team was known as Team Cunts. It was just something. It's basically. I'll be honest with you. It was basically an underdog team. I thought if we're gonna go as underdogs, we may not win this competition because we're against the Purest One, we're against Nishi, we're against other people I can't really remember. We're gonna be the underdogs because we were full of like. Well, I was B rank at the time, but my other people were like C ranks. I had a couple of A ranks, and I even had I'm trying to think what Jazz was, an E rank at the time. So we were not gonna win, but I was like, if we're going to do this, we're going to go out with a band. So I said, right, we're going to call ourselves Team Cunts. So I was talking to, I think you may have heard of him, Spectre X7, about organising a match. And Spectre X7 said to me, originally we were going to sign up, but Spectre said, no, TSG, you need 6 people signed up. And I was like, but I've already had 6 people. No, you need 6 people signed up on the forum or you can't join. So I was like, fuck. So we automatically could not join the first match. So I had to ask all the people, say, right, can we sign up? And they said, hey, yeah, sure. So when we all got signed up, and I said to Spectre X7, right, I've got 6 people signed up. Can we play a match? Yes. And you're facing Team Revolution. I was like, are you serious? You putting us against, like, arguably the best team on MGO just straight away? It's like as a punishment, like, well, fuck you for pissing me about. You're going against Team Revolution. Please sort a time out with them and everything. And I was like, who do I have to talk to? And he was like, you have to talk to Nishi. And I was like, right, so I have to talk to Nishi to schedule a match. I never heard of the guy before. And I was, like, trying to send him a message at, like, was it 11 o'clock at night? And I said, oh, do you fancy doing it this kind of time? We could do the match. And Nishi sent me a message at 3:30 in the morning. I was like, does this guy not sleep? Like,
no, he does not.
It's every time. Like when I tweet to him at times, I say, Nishi, do you want to be on the podcast? It's like, maybe, I'll have to charge you for it. But it's like 3:30 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, Nishi, if you're listening to this, please fix your sleeping pattern because you stay up all night and wake up in the morning. It's like 5 notifications and it's like, oh, at 3 in the morning or something. But seriously, Nishi, if you're listening, it's all good faith. I'll consider you a friend, and everything. So don't worry, I'm not. No offense intended, but take his advice, please. Fix your sleeping pattern.
Well, offense attended. The one team that you could have beat there was Revolution. Encrypted, they play a lot. Well, probably not anymore because there's no tournament now, so now nobody really gives a shit. But Team Revolution hardly ever played the game. So when they were playing that MGO.io tournament, they were all rusty. Except, I think Nishi was the only one who played, and he only played every once in a while. So Revolution was the team that you may have beaten, or could have beaten.
we put up a really good fight. I was really surprised at our chances because I thought, right, we're going against Team Revolution, we're going to lose because we are the underdogs and we all had no prior. Well, most of us had no prior competitive ESL experience, but we did put up a good fight. And I remembered it was Yad Baba, and he's talked about me on Twitch. He went after the first round. He went that TSG guy. Seriously, he's too good. He keeps headshotting me like 10 times, and I was like, could this be an offer that I'll be on Team Revolution? But obviously, if I got offered, I would probably decline because I do like playing with my friends. I don't mind, doing ESL, but, friends come first. So I'm sorry, Team Revolution, if you listen to this, because I'm from England, Team Revolution is from England, they might say, well, us brothers have to stick together. Do you want to join our clan? But I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I do play with a lot of my friends, so I'm sorry. But maybe in the future, one day. Maybe in the future. But I remembered when I played against him, I remember Nishi was kind of good. Yad Baba was very good, even though he said I was very good. Because I kept headshotting him, but he kept killing me at times, with like Demo 3 at times, like grenades out of nowhere.
You can't say he's good if he's using Demo 3. Anybody who uses that is a scrub. Just saying.
Well, I'm not too sure. I can't remember too sure on Demo 3. Maybe on some parts, but not all the time. But he had very good accuracy, I'll give him that. The only person, I'll be honest with you, Jensen, the only person that actually really played bad on Team Revolution at the time, and even Yad Baba said it as well, was, do you know X Nolan?
Yes.
X Nolan, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but X Nolan did really bad in the rankings during that match.
He had no business being on that team anyways, but they let him on that team so they could get the watches. I'm just saying.
Just implying, it's not fact, but I'm just saying, implying, Team Revolution may be doing some dirty business, but yeah, I remember Yad Baba said something on Twitch afterwards when Nolan got like last in the rankings. I think he overall got last in the rankings, and Yad Baba said a joke. He says, fuck's sake, we have to get Nolan off the team at this rate, because he kept going last place. But I don't know if Nolan's a really good player, but he did do really bad in that match. But again, no offense intended, Nolan. I don't know you as much as like Nishi and Yad Baba, but
oh, Nolan rides a dick like you wouldn't believe. If he wants on your team, he will ride you like a hobby horse. I'll tell you that right now. There's a lot of people who would agree, and there are some people that will hide and not say it out loud, but I don't care. I've had beef with Nolan. I've squashed the beef with Nolan, but he's always been known as a snake, and there's certain people who will tell you, and I'm pretty sure Purest One will tell you that he's a snake. He's always been one.
Right, I see. And I can imagine Team Revolution really listened to this, because I remember Nishi tweeted saying, oh, Gen Snake's going to be on the podcast where it's going to be all controversial, and Team Revolution again, if you listen to this, you did want to listen to a controversial podcast, then I will offer you to be on the podcast as well. There's no hostility from me. If you want to be on, you can be on. But, yeah, they did tweet saying they wanted to really listen to this podcast, and they've had a good portion spoken about them, so yeah.
You gotta talk about the number one team. That's just the way it is. They were the number one team.
Also, I've heard that. I have heard that. You can't be the number one team and not be talked about. It's like every sport. Every sport that has a really good player, there's got to be people that's got to talk about them. It's just how the way it goes.
Yeah, it was us at one time, and then all of a sudden we started losing to Revolution, and then Revolution started getting the videos and people trying to ban them and stuff. And I just told Nishi, you just need to chill, man, because they're going to come at you regardless. So. And there was even salty people on our team saying that there's something going on. They got to be glitching or doing some weird shit. So, it's just people just don't like losing.
Well, exactly. And even you just said then, everyone's been, you've just been honest. You said, well, there has been some salty people on my team. I may have been salty in the past. But, I mean, that's what I like, people being honest and saying, well, I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I was no saint, but it's like you have some people who will say, well, I was 100% in the right, and usually there's one thing I've learned is if someone does not own up they've done nothing wrong whatsoever, even in an argument, if they've done not one aspect wrong, they're usually lying. They usually are lying about the whole fact, and they usually are in the wrong. I mean, that's how the way things go. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into shooting up on other people, but let's change from one bullshit to another bullshit. And a lot of people might be saying, you know, Strongest Gamer, you are talking about other people a lot and all that, and I do like that portion. But I'm sorry, we have to move on, you know, you can't go on too much. Let's talk about the other bullshit that is Metal Gear Survive. Now, what was your honest reaction to that game?
Oh, well, first I looked at it, I was like, holy shit, this game looks amazing. Look at the graphics on this game, and wait a minute, I've seen this video before. Okay, now they're going into the sky. What the fuck is this about? And then I see the zombies, and it's like, oh, wow, it looks like they're trying to capitalize on that shitty microtransaction piece of shit game from Resident Evil. What was it? Raccoon City or some bullshit? Survival co-op garbage?
I don't think it was Operation Raccoon City, because Operation Raccoon City didn't have a lot of well, they didn't have microtransactions. I actually liked that game as well, so... But I think I know what you're on about, because I've heard some people say on RMGO, they said the same thing, something about Resident Evil co-op games that are built on microtransactions. But
yeah, there was a co-op game that came out, and it bombed hard, because it was a piece of crap. And I think that this game is going to do that too. The first indicator was when they said, it's not going to be a full $60, so that means it's going to be half-assed a game, even more so than
exactly
Metal Gear Solid 5, which was also a half-assed game. The game was half done.
Well, exactly.
And we paid $60 for that, some actually more, because we had to pay for Ground Zeroes, which was a piece of shit. So...
And you hear rumours where, you know, you've said about like a half-assed game for $60, but you're hearing rumours apparently there's going to be a Chapter 3 released, but on the definitive edition. Well, there's a leak of the so-called definitive edition of Metal Gear Solid 5. But again, I just think it's a lot of bullshit, because why would they sell a so-called definitive edition of Metal Gear Solid 5 with one chapter, which is one mission?
Well, I'm really hoping that what they're going to do with that, regardless if they put Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4 on there, just HD collections or something like that you can play on the PS4, I'll buy it anyways. I could care less about Metal Gear Solid 5. That game, it might have the best gameplay and whatnot out of the series, but for storyline, the game was crap. It was. And once all the dust settled, when all the reviewers are riding that dick like crazy, saying it was an amazing game, they were really realized, wait a minute, this game actually sucks. It's actually not that great. That's why there's no replay, but there's no replay value to the game other than if you want to grind boring missions. Do you really want to go run like 1,000 friggin' kilometers just to get to a bunch of claymores and shoot them out? I think there's like 10 missions of that.
Exactly, and I hate I hate one thing where they built a whole chapter on redoing missions but with a hard difficulty.
Now, see, that one I don't mind, because I like really hard games. Like, I'm the type of person that like Metal Gear Solid 3. I beat that shit on European Extreme Mode, and it was the funnest time I ever had with a Metal Gear game. It was so hard, but it was really rewarding when I finally beat the game. And Metal Gear Solid, like, the 5, it brought that back a little bit. It made the game a little bit harder. Because other than that, the game was easy as shit. You could have all the guards and all that stuff shooting the shit out of you, but as long as you do it fast enough, you'll get that S rank.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I used to do, because I knew there was a trophy for getting all S ranks. I used to just do S rank on every mission, and I'll just come back to the mission task. But one thing, though, as much as I like, you know, what you're saying about, but I like missions being very hard, which I have done as well. I have completed Metal Gear Solid 2 on European Extreme, and I'll tell you, that Solidus part where, you know, he's choking you on top of the Arsenal gear, on European Extreme, tapping triangle was an absolute bitch. On my phone, I thought I broke it at the end. I was like, like that, and I was like, gee, I had to be like Super Saiyan for like a minute straight. Just
that was probably my second favorite game on European Extreme Mode. That game was amazing. It was so hard, but it was so good.
It was so good. I have completed on European Extreme. I'm pleased to say I haven't cheated on the Solid Snake part, but yeah, but the thing is though, like, I just want to say, I don't think a game that's like has hard missions, it shouldn't be part of Chapter 2, if you agree with me. It should be there, but it should not be making up Chapter 2.
Yeah, I guess they could put that as side ops.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be side ops, just do these all over again. Yeah, you could really tell that the game was not finished, and it's a damn shame. But Konami wanted their money. I understand why. You know, they were 80 million in the red, because Kojima takes a long time to put out a game, and they wanted their payday. Now, what did they make? Like 100 million, 180 million in the first week or something like that? So they made their money back, but they still weren't sure if they were going to make their money back. So I understand in a business perspective why they rushed it out, because he was taking too damn long. He was working on that game since Peace Walker came out.
Yeah, and I've heard rumours of, don't take this as gospel, but I've heard rumours though, the reason why Metal Gear Solid 5, it's, you know, like the online mode with FOBs, and maybe with MGO3, they're going to stick around because, you know, people buy, like, mother-based coins.
Mm-hmm.
Konami was looking for more profit, and they need more profit to build on top of what Kojima has spent, because, you know, $80 million or $100 million, well, that's only $20 million, you know, profit, and probably, obviously a bit more, but apparently Konami want more money, that's why they're still keeping the game up for mother-based coins. But, yeah, I was a bit pissed off the fact that Chapter 2, it was built around hard missions, and I'm like, why am I doing the same missions but on hard? Why don't you just make this as part of side-ups? But no, you've obviously got plot fillers. Well, they're not even plot fillers, they're just basically space to take up because of the lack of missions in Chapter 2.
Yeah, I pretty much stopped playing after what was his name? Deadface, Shoeface, or whatever the hell his name is. Skullface, I guess his name is. Just randomly dies, and you're like, is that it?
Well, yeah, and that's
and
it.
And the lack of boss fights was just like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, even Peace Walker. Peace Walker I thought was kind of lame, and Metal Gear Solid 4. Some of the boss fights were fun. The best ones were in 2 and 3, but the boss fights were just amazing. You can talk about how good they were, but in 5, they were non-existent. The sniper battle with Quiet was shit. I hate Quiet, by the way. Hate that character. Worst character in Metal Gear Solid series. I'm sorry, I hate her. I hate her.
I think I agree, but I disagree at the same time. I disagree on the sniper boss fight because I actually liked that the first time round, but afterwards, once you get the rhythm to it, it's really predictable. It's really easy. But the part where I agree on you, she is the most overhyped character of all time when it comes to Metal Gear Solid series. Because
well, she's hot. That's it.
Well, yeah.
Other than that, who cares?
Exactly.
She's a shitty character.
Right.
There's nothing good about her.
If she was a 90-year-old woman with boobs hanging down to her knees, would she get as many fanboys?
Oh, hell no.
Exactly.
Now, mind you, I don't mind the cosplays that come out with Quiet. I'm not gonna lie. They look great. But other than that, the character itself is shit.
It is. It's bland.
Terrible.
It's bland.
Like, I understand why she doesn't talk. It's kind of a cool twist, but there's nothing really about her. I would actually want to know about her before she turned into actual Quiet. When she went to kill you at the start of the damn game.
Exactly.
Like, I'd like to know that background or whatever. But other than that, she's a very bland, boring character. And like I said, the only reason why people liked her is because she was hot.
Well, exactly. And she's got, like, loads of fanboys. Like, Stephanie Houston has loads of fanboys.
That woman is gorgeous, so I can see why.
But it's like, yeah, but it's like just because it's Quiet, you know, at the end of the day, that's why. And, you know, because a lot of people like Quiet, they obviously like her because obviously she's, you know, modeled Quiet.
I remember when you lose her in the game, and people were flipping their shit. I was like, well, doesn't really matter for me, I don't really care. I use the dog, so whatever.
Everyone loves the dog as well. But it's like, yeah, but do you think, though, like, the whole point of that moment when she leaves, the whole point around that is to, what you call it, add drama, like a dramatic moment, like, oh, she suddenly has to go now and all of a sudden. And do you think they've killed it by releasing a patch where they can obtain it after playing the same sniper battle for like 7 times?
Not really. Look at fighting games, for example. You know, they've killed off Katsuya in the second one, I believe, and you can still play him in Tekken 7. So that doesn't bug me. I love Tekken 2. It's my favorite fighting game.
It's the
Tekken
best.
7, baby.
I'll be honest with you, if I was older, but back in time when Kazuya was killed off in Tekken 2, I'd be one of those people that were really pissed off. I'd be one of those people I'd be like, fuck, this is my favourite character on Tekken. Not just my favourite character to play with, but my favourite character in Tekken, because he's got that good duality to him where he's like, he's actually kind of like misunderstood, but he's really good at heart, but it's because of the devil gene, it's made him bad. So, I won't say much because people will be tuning in and going, hey, I don't play Tekken, what the fuck is this? But it's basically, he's got a devil gene, and it's basically, he's got one side of him that's good, but one side of him is bad, but in recent events it's a bit leaning towards the evil side a lot. It's a very vertical line to evil rather than just like, tipping the scales.
Yeah. Just to go back, it's just, I don't mind that you can go back and play her. If people like her, and they shouldn't not be able to use her. If they want to use her, just let the damn guys use her. They understand that she left the game, but just let the people use the damn girl. It's fine.
What is your opinion though? Because I have a friend. I don't want to name him on this podcast because he told me, and I was like, if I name him, people might get the wrong impression, and all that. Oh, why have you said this bullshit about me and everything? But I have a friend who will remain anonymous, but you know him, and I'll tell you after this. He said to me, I'll be honest with you, TSG, I think the quiet cosplays are an excuse for women to dress like sluts.
You can say that about any cosplayers, to be honest.
Because I had a friend, well, he was an ex-friend now, because in my opinion he's whipped, but I had a friend who used to be friends with this girl, and I looked on her Instagram and I was like, what? She's a model? Yeah, she's a model. I said, no way. And he goes, yeah, check on her Instagram. So I looked on the Instagram, and dear God, Jen Snake, dear God, dresses up like quiet, but it's not even like quiet, like proper quiet. It's basically, right, what's that harness thing that quiet wears, but minus the pants and minus all clothing as well. There's no bikini really. It's like really dodgy. It's really dodgy looking. And I was showing that to my friend, who will remain anonymous, and another friend, and we were just laughing at it. We were just going, oh my God, she's really like made herself look like a slut on Instagram, but claiming.
Well, then she's definitely just looking for views or whatever, because if she didn't do it properly, I don't mind. You can go ahead and dress like a skank all you want. Get money, get paid. If that's what you have, go ahead and use it. But, like, if you're not going to do it right, don't fucking do it at all.
Exactly. I mean, I may even show you later on, but even my friends and I were going, oh my fucking God. You can tell she's just basically pretending to be a cosplayer and pretending to be a gamer girl, just because,
Pretending to be a gamer girl, just go and have the bitches on Twitch. There you go.
yes.
Just saying.
Titty streamers. Well, if we have to talk about titty streamers, that is one thing that really pisses me off in this community on Twitch. The fact that women have boobs sticking out and everything, like massive cleavage. I remember this one streamer I looked up, and she used to be like a porn star or something, and she's got boobs like, Jesus Christ, it was like size of, well, not even melons, but like, I don't know, melons and steroids and other things filled up to the brim, and
they're playing the games that all the 13-year-old boys that feel something but don't know why are watching that shit. They're playing games like that shitty League of Legends game, Dota, Minecraft, Call of Duty. They're playing all those top 4 games because they know all the little kids love to watch. Ooh, look, a girl with big boobs. I'm gonna watch her and send donations. It's just disgusting. It really is. I can't stand it.
She might acknowledge me. She might marry me or something, or whatever. But I find it hilarious, right? You know those gamer girls that are on Twitch? I am telling you right now, Jen Sake, they are arguably the most cleverest people on the planet.
But you can't hate them for it.
And they definitely are sociopaths as well. Because the fact the way they time stuff, the way they do stuff, like normal, ordinary, they make it so it's like, part of the show. Like, I'll tell you what, this one girl, she was playing on a game, but she had to go somewhere. So do you know what she did? She stood up from a chair, but she leaned over towards the webcam. You know, so like the webcam just full of cleavage right in your face. But it's like any normal person would just, stand up, walk out or something. But no, stand up, cleavage right to the webcam. Just full in its all its glory. But yeah, I find
it makes you sick, and it's a damn shame for the girls that actually go out there and actually are good at video games, that actually willingly try and don't get the views that they deserve because of these shitheads that are just being skanks.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because to be honest, there are some girls on Twitch, guys. There really is.
Yes.
There's some girls on Twitch that actually are legit and aren't trying to be skanks. But I'd say probably about 90% of them are huge skanks.
I'm gonna name drop one of them right now. Rainbow Kids. We all know Rainbow Kids is a slut. Come on, be honest. But
I don't know who that is, but
she's one of the top streamers. But I'll tell you right now, she is a slut. She is like arguably the top one. She one time there was a streamer called Groscore. Do you know Groscore?
No, I to be honest, if you mention streamers, I don't really know them because I mostly don't really watch other people play video games. Or I usually just watch CSGO, Metal Gear Online, and that's pretty much it.
I'll tell you the story, and you're going to be very disgusted about this. Basically, there was a streamer called Groscore, right? And obviously Rainbow Kids is the slut. She, led him on and everything, saying, oh, hi, Groscore, and all these, leading him on to think something is this. And then he's obviously, as a man with balls, he's going to say, well, I'm getting signs here, I'm going to take up on it. But then apparently she led him on and she said something like, oh, I wasn't interested in you. So he was like, what the fuck? You've, led me on for months and everything. So when he tried to call her one time, she picked up, the phone. Well, I think it was the phone, or was it on a Skype chat or something? And you're never going to believe what this bitch did. She's saying stuff like, I never led you on, and you had the wrong impression. And he was being fair, he was saying, alright, I'm sorry. But guess what she did next? She invited some random guy that had no involvement in the argument whatsoever, going, oh, there's this guy, this streamer, he wants to help me out on this. And obviously Gross goes, what the fuck? What's he got to do with it? And he actually came in on, honest to God, it's everywhere on Reddit. They call it cringe white knighting. You obviously know what white knight is. But he was really bad. He was saying stuff like, dude, she doesn't have to go out with you, and I studied law, that's not right, and everything. Why do you take everything as a hint? And obviously Gross Girl just said, what the fuck? This is between me and her. And she was like, oh my god, she was playing the waterworks, crying on the
damsel
street.
In distress.
Yeah, the whole damsel in distress. So this guy would come in and think he'll be the hero, the cringe white knight, and he'll think he'll get something out of it. And guess what? He got nothing out of it. So she made two guys fight each other on a stream for nothing. Literally nothing.
Well, no offense to the guy, even though that, he fell for a bitch online, but it's online. You can't do that. Use a dating website. Come on.
Exactly.
If you're gonna find a girl on the internet, that's the risk that you take. Unless you go outside and go to the supermarket and say, hey, I like your apples. There you go. There's a good pickup line for you. But, online dating, I'm just old school, so I was never interested in any of that stuff. It's very strange for me.
Exactly, you, like you said, you should just go out like any other person, go somewhere, maybe go to a club, and, give them a really good pickup line. I'm pretty sure they have got MGO pickup lines. You can always go up to someone and go, hey, have you got charm skill equipped? Why? Because you really stunned me. There you go.
That's brutal.
But
it might just work.
That's a cheesy pickup line.
Sometimes the cheesy ones make them laugh, and that's what you want.
Another one. Have you got rocket punch? Why? Because you rocket punched into my heart. And again, another one. I'm on fire, but word of advice, don't actually go out and say stuff like, oh, you rocket punch my heart, because you're obviously going to get a slap and maybe get looked at as a stalker. But I've just said, it may work. You may find someone who likes MGO as well. Courtesy of TSG. Anyway, I'm going to leave it on a high note because I know you're a busy guy, Jen Snake. It's nearly been an hour, this Skype call. So I'm going to let you on to MGO2R, kick ass as usual. Be controversial as yourself and everything, you know. You've just been a really nice guy to come onto the podcast, and I'm just appreciate that the fact that you've been my most controversial guest, but also the person who's been the most honest guest at the same time.
It could have been even more controversial. You didn't ask the right questions. Maybe maybe if there's a next time, I'll tell you some other things. And
I'm thinking about doing a future podcast with. The thing is, though, for this series, I'm going to have to split it up into different group podcasts because there's going to be way too many people in one group podcast. It'll end up where we have 12 people in one podcast, and if you listen to a podcast with 12 people, it's going to sound really terrible. It's going to sound like all you can hear is laughing, and then you can hear someone going, "Hey, what about?" and it's just like, it's never going to work. So there is going to be a time where I'm going to have a future group podcast with like about 4 people, because 4 people is the maximum limit in my opinion, and it's just going to be full of like fan submitted questions, and it's my finale of the series. So, and I'll be honest with you, they usually are my best podcasts.
I think you need to get a hold of Mr. Robert Peeler and try to get that ass in here with some fan questions. I know you've been trying, and he's been ignoring you. I see it. I see the Twitter marks. Well, like I said, I told this to you, and I'm going to say this on your podcast. You should get a hold of Ben from Konami. He's a good guy. He gives you the right answers. Peeler does not. But you could try. But
I am trying to get Peeler and Ben, but with Rob Peeler just keeps ignoring. And I'll be honest with you, Gen Snake, and again, this is going to be my podcast and it's controversial. I think the reason why Rob Peeler is avoiding it is because he's friends with Perfect Self. Because recently I saw on a Twitter post, do you know Gamescom?
Yep.
They went to Gamescom and they met up, and obviously Perfect Self has heard of me. I've took over his Reddit. I have. People, if you listen, I've took over his Reddit. And he's obviously said to Robert Peeler, he must have said something like, "Oh, that TSG guy, oh, don't talk to him, he's an asshole, he said this and this about me." And I'll be honest, I can imagine Rob Peeler just standing there going, "Oh, really? He did this? Really? Well, I'm not talking to him. You're one of my favourite people. You're one of my people that's K-Code streamers. Well, my favourite K-Code streamer or something." I just know. I
got kicked out of K-Code, so...
Well, I sent a bit of a diss once towards... K-Code streamers, and not all of them bad. Not all of them are bad. I just thought a lot of them were bad.
Yeah. All of them are actually pretty good. There's only one of them who's a fucking idiot, and everybody knows who he is. MaxSwag certified.
Right.
One of the biggest dickheads in the fucking community.
Let's talk about this right now.
I
need to ask this right now, because everyone I have been talking about MaxSwag, they've all said the same thing. Oh, MaxSwag is an arsehole, or MaxSwag he's well, I don't want to say the heavy allegation. Alright, I'll say the heavy allegation, but MaxSwag don't sue. Apparently he's a fraud. He's a big fraud. People apparently think he's this nice guy who does stuff for communities, and apparently he doesn't. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to go.
You can't take criticism whatsoever.
But what is
I got kicked out of K-Code because of him. He blocked me on Twitter just because I state my opinions, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pyro Guardian, somebody else, another idea for you, might maybe get him on the stream. He's got probably about 1,200 subscribers on his YouTube, so he's bigger than me as well. But you should get his opinion on MaxSwag certified. That guy's a fucking idiot. I can't stand that guy. He makes me sick.
I will ask him. Because I have a friend I have a mutual friend with Perfect Stealth, and out of the goodness of my heart, and I really like this guy because even though he's friends with him, we really talked. You know, he apologises as Perfect Stealth has been an asshole in the past, and being one of his closest friends. You know, he's a really nice guy. I'm not going to name who it is. I'm sorry, even though this is controversial, I can't say this guy's name just because he's been so good to me. I'm going to be so good to him. He even said about MaxSwag. He says that MaxSwag guy. I'm telling you right now, I don't care if Stealth is or is not friends with MaxSwag. But he's an asshole. He said he went to do a stream at Konami or something, and he said, "I'm be honest with you, TSG, it was fucking awful. The guy does not know how to stream. He does not know what he's doing. He's like
he doesn't.
Apparently, he's getting like favoritism from certain people.
He is because he rides the dick so hard. He's like Nolan. He'll ride that dick so hard when he wants something for you, and he doesn't deserve it because his content is crap. He's not a good player. Like, you gotta give Perfect Stealth. The dude is actually decent at the game. So you can't really hate him too much. But MaxSwag has no skill whatsoever at the game. And he says that he should have he can have an opinion on the game, I guess, but his opinion should be invalid just because it doesn't make any sense. I guess when Metal Gear Survive came out, he came out with a list of why the game is awesome. And it's just like, because it's a Metal Gear game. What? That was one of the top ones. Just because it's a Metal Gear game, like fucking Hideo Kojima left the game, it doesn't mean it's going to be good now. Like, it's probably going to be shit. How are you going to say that a game that's going to be placed on microtransactions is going to be good? And I guarantee you there'll be microtransactions in that game.
There will be.
Guaranteed.
Be a lot of freemium content. Even I said that.
Yeah, guaranteed. They can't hide it. Konami is just, like, I love the people that work there, like Ben and the other guy that used to work there, Turo Shirku or whatever the hell his name is. He was a good guy. But right. He used to stream with Peeler every once in a while when they do their Konami streams. But they have good people that work there. But the company itself is stupid. Terrible. Terrible choices. And using MaxSwag Certified as one of their speakers is a terrible idea.
Like, when I was talking to my mutual friend about MaxSwag, I said, MaxSwag does all these, charity stuff. And this mutual friend of also, Perfect Stealth and that, he just laughed. He just constantly laughed. He says, charity stuff. Don't make me laugh. And I'm going to put a disclaimer now. Anything that anyone says in this podcast or any people's opinions on the podcast is just views of their own. They are not facts, they are opinions, so you can't do about that. But, well, yeah, I mean, that is a trick in the law book. As long as you say it's your opinion, you can't get done. This is my opinion, I can't get done. I didn't say it was fact, it was opinion.
I don't blame you. He's a snake, and he would be trying to take this thing down. He's one of those people, so I don't blame you.
I mean, I will say in the description, the following podcast is just views of the people are in it, like their opinions, not facts. So anything you're gonna say, it's all opinions. It's not fact. It could not be true. It could be true. Nobody knows for certain. But yeah, my friend, he laughed. He said something about, charity events. Yeah, right, or something. I was like, Jesus. I mean, it's like that's a very heavy allegation, but. Yeah,
like, even if he has, even if the charity events and all this stuff is not true, or he's just trying to steal money out of people's pockets, I could care less. It's the person, which actually, that stuff tells you about his character, but, just the person himself, he's just very snaky, and, he said that one of these days, him and I were going to have a debate, and he just pretty much muted me the whole time and talked shit to me for, good 45 minutes, and I was just like, you know what, I've had enough, just because... the guy won't even let me defend myself or give me my opinions on what he's saying. And I understand that I swear a lot, but that's just the way that I am. And if you can't handle that, that's your fucking problem.
Would you be willing to do a future podcast one day if I said something to MaxSwag? Would you do a joint podcast with Gen Snake? Would you do it?
I would do it because I didn't hate the guy personally until he started just completely shutting me out. I hated his views on the game. I just didn't hate him as a person. But then I realized what kind of person he is. Just completely shuts it out. Like him trying to be the big boy sending me messages on Twitter and stuff like that. Like private messages on Twitter and whatnot. God. And I'm never going to release them because I'm not that type of person.
Exactly.
It's just the type of person that he is. It just bugs me that people ride him the way they do. Meanwhile, there's other people that tell the truth, regardless of how bad it is, like you or me or even the Purest One, will say something, but we get shit for it because we're telling the truth or our version of the truth. Or,
exactly.
Everything is based on everybody's opinion, right? But we have a lot of stuff on him, and he's just a dickhead.
One thing I've noticed, and you agree with that, if you have one person who says, I did this, I did that, I did this, but nobody agrees with them, they're probably lying. But if you've got random people like me, you, Purest One, Sentinel or someone else after that, if they all say, well, Perfect Stealth, he's a snake, he's an arsehole, it's probably true because everyone is saying the same thing. Like, we didn't know each other till, a week ago or something like that.
Yeah, a week ago, one of your friends actually said, "Do you want to be on this podcast?" I was like, "I don't even know what this is," it's just because I stopped caring about what was going on with MGO3. I was just so disappointed in the game. I just stopped watching everything about it and anything to do with it, just because it's over.
Exactly.
Like, there's been like MGO1, great game, which you can still get on the servers and play. MGO2, you can still get on and play. But MGO3, you get 4 game modes. 4. There's 5 in MGO1.
Well, exactly.
The game came out in 07, 06. For fuck's sakes. Well, like, what are you doing? I understand that we live in an age where games are put out nowadays, and it's more of fix them after they're released. That's fine. You can go ahead and do that. People get angry, but we deal with it as long as the game is fun. But there were so many problems with the game, and they just took forever to fix it. So when they did fix it, they bragged about it. People were like, this was a part of MGO2 and 1. Like, you could go into knife fights in MGO1. You could actually turn all guns off, and just use your knife. Can't do that in MGO3. You can do it in MGO2. How come you could do it in MGO1 and 2, but you can't do it in 3? Like, there's so much options missing. That's why people are pissed off, and they don't seem to understand that. Like they said, welcome, the knife is back. Get Cloak and Dagger, for example. Cloak and Dagger, you didn't have a knife. You could slit his throat, but when he's laying on the ground, you couldn't stab him. So people in Cloak and Dagger were at a disadvantage. It was the stupidest game mode you could have ever done. Because you didn't have a fucking knife. It was the dumbest thing ever. And then they said the knife is coming back, and I'm like, well, what a fucking surprise. It should have been a part of the game in the first place. But I got kicked out of K-Code for stating a fact. Like, it should be a part of the game. There's no rescue. There's no capture. Capture was in MGO 1 and 2. And Peace Walker, for fuck's sakes. It's not in this game? Rescue was in Peace Walker, for fuck's sakes. It's in three games, but it's not in MGO 3? What the hell's going on here?
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, why are you... With your next game, why are you taking one step forward but, 20 steps back?
Yeah, and the thing that pissed me off the most about that game is that it's over. We're probably never going to get another MGO ever again, because Kojima's gone, so there's probably never going to be an MGO. So we're probably never going to get an MGO 4, which maybe they would fix. I don't see it happening. I really don't. So we're left with MGO 3, a game that leaves a bad taste in all of our mouths. The game is fun at times, but there's just so much wrong with it, so much missing, that it's not worth playing.
Exactly. That's why I prefer going in rest lobbies on MGO3. I always go into Bailey Payne. I don't know if you've heard of him. Bailey Payne. He has legendary rest lobbies. He just basically messes about and he'll do random shit, and a lot of his videos are entertaining. But yeah, I'm done with competitive. I really hate the competitive. It's just bullshit. It doesn't even reward skill. It just rewards run and gun. That's one thing I hate about games, when they reward run and gun rather than skill. You could have one guy who could snipe someone 8 times for no deaths, but you could have a guy that's got 12 kills but 24 deaths, but he gets a rank up. How does that work?
Well, I just hated the Call of Duty approach. It was very rip-off of Call of Duty and Battlefield, the way the level-up system works, the way the class system works. And I loved myself from Battlefield. Don't get me wrong, I love